All right, today we're going to go over 4.1, solving systems of equations by graphing. This is part one. The essential question is, what is a system of equations? And basically, to simplify it as much as possible, a system of equations is just composed of, it's basically composed of two or more equations. So instead of having just one equation, you're going to have two. Now, here's the key thing that I need you to not forget. And I want you to go ahead and highlight it or underline, put a line or circle it, something. So the solution is going to be the point of intersection. So right now, we're going to be graphing two equations. Our answer, or what we're going to be calling the solution, is going to be the point where they intersect, basically the point where they meet each other. All right. So let's go ahead and do this problem. Notice that we got two equations, y equals negative 2x minus 4 and y equals 1/2 x plus 6. Also notice that those two are given to you in the form of y equals mx plus b. And in case you forgot, let's go ahead and remember what that form, what is given in that form. So we know that m is going to be your slope. And it's usually going to be given to you in the form of rise over run. We also know that the b gives you the y-intercept, which in other words is basically your starting value or your starting point. All right, so make sure that you remember those things. Anyways, let's go ahead and graph the two equations, and I'm going to graph them separate. So I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to put it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and graph it. I know that my y-intercept is negative 4. So I'm going to go to my y-axis, which is that one. And I'm going to put a dot at negative 4, which is right there. All right. I also know that my slope is going to be negative 2. And because I want it in the form of rise over run, I'm gonna write a 100 because I need a fraction. Now notice that negative 2 is a negative number, which means we're not rising, we're actually gonna be falling. All right, so starting from my y-intercept at negative 4, I'm gonna fall 2 and run 1. And that's my next point. Now, when it comes to solving a system of equations, I need you to draw a line that is very accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and find more points by using the slope. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1. And then one more, down 2 over 1. Now, that's probably not going to be enough. So I need to find some points on the left. And if you remember how to do that, we're basically going to do the slope, but backwards. So instead of going down 2 over 1, I'm going to go up 2 over 1. And then just keep doing it until I find as many points as I can. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And then just continue to find more points. And I think that should be more than enough. I'm just going to go ahead and connect them. And there's my slope. All right, well, let's go ahead and graph the second equation, which is y equals 1/2 x plus 6. So we know that the y-intercept is your b value, which means that I have a y-intercept at 6. So I'm going to go to my y-axis again, and I'm going to put a dot at 6. All right, I can see that the slope is going to be 1 over 2, and it's already in the form of rise over run. So I don't have to do anything to it. I'm just going to go ahead and follow it. So starting from my y-intercept, I'm going to go up 1, rise 1, and then run 2, which is right there. And I'm going to find as many points as possible. So run or rise 1, run 2, rise 1, oops, run 2, and then up 1 over 2. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. And I'm going to go reverse. So instead of going up 1 over 2, I'm going to go down 1 over 2. And I'm just going to find as many points as possible. Down 1 over 2, and then down 1 over 2. And I think that should be enough. I'm just going to go ahead and connect the dots. All right. So I don't know if you can see it, but we have an intersection. Which means that that is going to be the solution to my system. So the solution is going to be in the form of X and Y. So what point is that? Well, that point is going to be -4 up 4. So -4, comma 4. And that's going to be the solution to my system of equations. Okay. Now, I want you to do something extra in case you want to check your work, which is something that we should be able to do. So let's just say you solved it and you want to check if the solution is actually -4, comma 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the original equations. So that was y equals -2x minus 4 and y equals 1/2 x plus 6. And I just took them from right here. Okay, that's all I did. So I want to check my answers. Well, how can I do that? Well, remember, this is x and this is y. All right. The way to check your work is by literally plugging them in. So I'm going to substitute -4 for x, and I'm going to substitute 4 for y in both of the equations and see what's going to happen. So instead of writing y, now I'm going to write 4 equals -2 times x. Well, x is now -4 and then -4. So notice that all I did is I plugged in my y and my x. All right. Well, let's see what we get. Let's simplify this. Well, I know that -2 times -4, that's +8. Right, and I'm just going to bring everything else down. And I know that 8 minus 4, well, that equals to 4. And notice what we get. We get 4 equals 4, which is a true statement. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if I do the same thing on the other equation. All right, so let's plug in my y and let's plug in my x. So my y is also going to be 4. And then my x is going to be -4. Well, let's go ahead and simplify this. Well, 1/2 times -4, that's going to be -2. And I'm just going to bring everything else down. And I know that -2 plus 6, well, that gives you 4. And notice what happens again. We get 4 equals 4, which is a true statement. So I can conclude that the solution is actually the solution. And this is how you're going to check your work. If you need to. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you need to check your work, that's what you're going to do. All right. So what I want you guys to do now is go ahead and do the next 2 problems. I'm going to give you about a few minutes and then we'll check our work. And you can go ahead and pause the video for a minute and then I'll show the answers. All right, so those should be your solutions. So for the first one, the 2 lines intersect at 2, -1. The second one, the 2 lines intersect at -4, 2. Now, I know there's probably a few questions about number 2. Just remember, if your slope doesn't fit in the graph, like for example, for number 2, my y-intercept was at 10. So I had to go up 2 over 1. Obviously, I'm already out of the graph. Well, instead of going up 2 over 1, do that but in reverse. Go down 2 over 1. All right. So Now, there should be a practice sheet. Make sure that you guys go ahead and complete that, work with each other, and see you guys later.